Oh, great. I had a hiccup as I opened my mouth. That's a good start. All right. This is the finals of the Go for StarCraft monthly finals. You know what? We've been talking a lot about today about the overall prize pool, but to bring some attention to the actual amount being played for right now, guys. First place gets 300 euros. Second place, 150. At this point, it's safe to say nobody comes out today a loser, but both of these guys, of course, are going for that little bit of extra cash, and someone wants to come out very far ahead. Who that's going to be remains to be seen. Spawning here in the top or bottom left corner of Overgrowth, the orange Zerg player once again, Elazer. And did Hyun just 9 pool?
Looks like it. It never writes. He is Hyun.
I thought I saw that wrong for a second, but I was like, okay. Because, you know, 10 pool's pretty standard stuff. 9 pool's a little bit more offbeat. So are 11 and 12 pools, but I don't know. Do you pair a gas with a 9 pool?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, seeing maybe if you did. The the one thing again like a 10 pool gas, that's banelings, right? That's your bust, that's your all in. But a 9 pool earlier on is just a bit odd to see. If this is Zerglings, okay. If this is Zerglings with spine crawlers, then that's pretty freaking sweet. But we'll see what he plans to do with this. He didn't save Larva straight to Lings, so he did make a drone right away. So 4 Lings, 6 Lings coming out.
Are we sure that it was not a 10 pool?
I don't know. It looked like a 9 pool, that's why I asked.
Okay, well I wasn't sure either. I'd assumed that you were like questioning what you saw. But anyways, it's probably just gonna be like, it probably was just a 10 pool, and you know, he's gonna do what people like to do and not necessarily do an all-in, but rather just, you know, take control of the game, maybe gets at the best, go ahead and cancel a hatch or even kill a hatch, which rarely happens, but you can also try and go for the drone line, but the cancel on the hatch is guaranteed.
Well, whatever the... Again, like, I think if that was the temple, this would have been gas associated with it. But whatever the case may be, coming across the map to go for, as you said, possibly the cancel. There are some Zerglings coming out of Elazer. Honestly, Hyun could probably easily get this canceled. There's so many coming across the map. When it comes to Zergling numbers, speed's irrelevant, positioning's key, and if you got more lanes, you can have better positioning. Just kind of bottom line.
Oh, he's gonna try and save this hatchery. This can be a little dangerous. If those lanes go down, say the drones don't actually get into the action soon enough, suddenly you're down a bunch of drones, but also down that hatch. Now, so far this is going really, really well. A little bit of cute micro from Hyun is not going to work out. And the Elazer will go ahead and save this hatchery.
Elazer actually did some pretty nice drone micro there, too. I don't know if you noticed, he's actually mineral walking them back to make sure that they do get out alive. Yeah. So, great hold so far, but it doesn't exactly come out ahead. Again, Hyun applied a little bit of pressure with this, but he did make some drones behind this as well. So, it's actually got the drone lead, oddly enough. But a drone lead doesn't matter when if it's by 2 if your opponent's got a whole hatchery above you.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a little frustrating for Hyun right there. You know, you would love if your opponent did a hatchery first. You know, those lings wouldn't be there to help out, and if they pull drones, I mean, I've actually seen some Zerg players do that, pull drones when their pool's really late, and just lose all the drones and lose the hatchery, lose the game.
Yeah, no, but again, like the mineral walking backwards. Actually, how many drones we actually lost there? So like a total of 3. I mean, that could have been much worse. It sounds like a little, because like later on in the game you're like, oh, he lost 3 drones, he's got 90 behind it, not a big deal. But earlier on when you're on like 12 drones, 3 is quite devastating, or 6 is devastating. 3 is alright, but 6 is scary.
Now, somewhat luckily for Hyun, Elazer not going for gas again. So what he could have had was potentially a much faster metabolic boost to counterattack, you know, and try and keep it denying Hyun's natural.
That would have been a nice move, but it's a little bit hard to pull off when you know that you see them pull drones, you know that they don't have a lot going on. He's actually going to try and get to the main to scout and confirm that there are in fact no gases, so he's probably not going to get the drone kill. Some players will try and snipe off one. He did look to go for that, but not enough links made it through.
Yeah. So while Elazer doesn't get that, you know, immediate counterattack, maybe even like another one more cancel on Hyun's base, he still is doing something that was very greedy. I mean, he's having a very good economy behind this, as he did not lose a bunch of drones. Hyun is also doing that same build, actually. He's not going for gas. He's going to get gas a little later, unfortunately, because he has to kind of make up for it more than Elazer does. But, you know, there's like... I don't know, there wasn't really an advantage to not having that hatch up. Usually we see like maybe a counterattack and suddenly that larva not being there means that there's 10 less lings. Like, it can be devastating, but Hyun is perfectly fine. 35 to 33, not a big deal.
Well, it falls back for the time being. There's not a lot you can do with these queens on the front line, sadly. It's only depressing to look at lings and just remember just how low their HP is. and how well Queens can deal with it. You know, I can't help but wonder too. Do you remember? So there was a huge problem way back when they buffed the Queen range. You know, a lot of the Terran players for the Hellions had issues with that. I can't help but like wonder how different ZVZ would look nowadays too if the Queen range was as neutered as it once was.
It's a good question. Elazer's gonna have faster upgrades and a faster lair. And he's bound to have a few faster stuff after defeating that's 10 pool.
I don't know. It feels so many times though the players who go for the earlier upgrades rarely get the benefit of it because oftentimes, you know, you don't go for the +1 weapon attacks. That's 4 more roaches that could have been across the map, just outnumbering your opponent. I mean, later on upgrades are everything. Don't get me wrong, but it's like early on 4 roaches is like it can be the difference of winning and losing the game.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of times we see a lot more roaches just overpower someone who did manage to, you know, get those upgrades, but just, you know, not enough roaches. So, but Hyun, you know, is he actually gonna, you know, capitalize on that? Well, actually, Hyun's gonna be the one who gets the double upgrades a little bit faster.
Well, yeah. Let's see if that comes into effect. A lot of this is gonna be timing as well.
Yeah, I mean the possibility of him attacking while Elazer has the +1 for like 40 seconds longer than him. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a big window.
Well, actually, Hyun's gonna be the first one to make actual roaches. And
Okay.
This might seem insignificant for now, guys, but with this third base, you can kind of hope that the production starts kicking in. But again, Zerg has some very delicate timings associated with it. And one of that is the way the larva pops. The other is how Defender's Advantage will come into effect when your roaches, are they hatching just in the nick of time, or are they too late? Do they funnel in? There's a lot of very subtle things that, again, in the early game, a couple of losses can make a bigger difference than in the later game, where things snowball out of control really fast.
Yeah, this faster third is really gonna play the biggest part. And well, Hyun, you know, he was even on that drone count. That third could take him a long time to get back up in there. And like, what is he like? Obviously, he doesn't attack instead of go for a third. He got the third, so he's not gonna be able to cancel lasers.
It's funny seeing the creep spread too. Man, there's some Zerg players who are like really against creep spread because they're always worried about like, you know, oh, give my opponent benefit too. But I like creep spread. A lot of this comes in more to the late game where, you know, you can't have overlords in the middle of the map. As we see, Hyun's been very diligent about cleaning them up with the queens, so a creep tumor will give you the vision that the overlord usually can't.
Yeah, I like it as well. Recognize Zerg players all about the creep spread. Thought the vision was well worth it, but you're right. A lot of people have disagreements with that. An attack is coming for Elazer.
Now, he's got the +1 weapon upgrades going for him. He's got 3 roaches over Hyun. But I think the queens are, again, it's weird, but in these lower supply battles going to make the biggest difference in the world. A couple transfuses are going to keep these roaches alive for a very long time, and almost actually starts to, almost gets a snipe on that one for free. Hyun also going to have his 2-2 before his opponent, that's for sure, but 2 level 2 weapon upgrades will be available for Elazer, so again, you don't really know the timings of your opponent. You can't see the research building. You don't know whether that's going to time out perfectly for you or not, but the tunneling clause on the burrow, I don't like this early. I kind of wish you would have had more roaches before investing into this.
I haven't really seen like enough of it to determine whether I like it at all. Honestly, like whether it's early or late, because the games that I have seen, it seemed to be the player who did the higher tech, which was either Hydras or Infestors, seemed to win out against the person who tried to do Burrow Roach shenanigans.
I like Burrow Roach shenanigans, so they work really well. One of the biggest things they do is, you know, you can try and sneak around. I think a lot of people look at the tunneling claws and it's all about like the hidden shark attack because it's the cool flashy way to do it, but that's wrong. Like the biggest way this comes into effect is, you know, segmenting those 4 roaches to each of the mineral lines while main attack goes on in the central part of the map. You know, killing countless drones behind your opponent's army is almost you just can't compare that to actual roach fights. So the burrow lets you sneak by, it lets you heal up if you get caught, you can spread out, you can still do a lot of harass, but that's still something I don't know if Elazer is going to necessarily be able to pull off, because Hyun has got a lot of just raw roach power.
Yeah. These burrow tactics could really do something, though. I mean, Hyun still has not chosen like a secondary attack. He's not getting Hydras, not getting Infestation Pit.
Tunneling claws is revealed, by the way. Again, for those who don't know how to spot for it, look at the back of Hyun's roaches, and then look at the back of Elazer's roaches. Very, very bright spikes make it very obvious that tunneling claws is out.
Yeah.
Yes, he had an overseer there. Oh,
okay,
but it's not
he
with the
does have an
army.
overseer, but he's not bringing it with the army. Oh, that's actually that's even more sneaky. Well, actually, that Overseer just gave
That was
himself
awkward.
away.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he did like a weird unburrow there that really revealed what was going on. I'm not sure what that was out of Elazer. He's kind of forced to dedicate to this though, because you can't really fall back off of it. But as we see, these roaches are actually struggling to kill roaches that are burrowed. That heal is too good. Middle of the map, fight is forced, but Hyun's got way too many forces. Elazer has to disengage here. But this bot time for roaches to unburrow in the main. He's starting to kill a lot of drones while this is happening. Hyun cleans up the natural, but looks like the spine core will actually hold the third. Elazer with some pretty precise micro here.
Elazer killed 9 drones right there. Maybe a few more will go down, as you know, catching these things is so difficult.
But that was awkward the way he started that. The instigation of that was just weird. And I gotta say, like, it didn't feel like it was worth it.
And you know, I think the upgrade just ever so slightly for like 10 seconds in favor of Hyun.
Yeah.
So it was like the worst possible thing he could do. It's still not going to be game ending for him though. He definitely has defensive advantage right now, and Hyun
nice
trying to
surround,
push in. Now can't even leave.
So Lasers still not gonna have a roach lead after this, sadly. But Hyun takes down the third while this is, or the fourth while this is happening. So no gold base for Elazer. But it's more about like canceling Elazer's lead more so than it is about getting ahead and being dominant.
That's a good point. That's a good way to put it. Hyun is still being attacked in the main by these pesky little roaches. He's down to 42 drones now, and now at a time where the roach count is very, very similar, you don't want to have to spend the larva and money on 10 extra drones to catch up again.
Yeah, and I really would have liked, like, if Elazer, he spent so much dedicated to defending that attack, because he didn't know if he had enough. If he had recognized that he had enough roaches to defend, the ones rallying from the natural would have already been across the map and at this third, rather than the army just barely getting here. Now, as far as armies colliding, one of the big things is Hyun's down 20 workers, guys. As long as the Elazer trades out evenly, he'll start to slowly pull ahead. Let's not forget there's still one pesky roach in the main that's continuing to snipe off drones.
Oh, it's so annoying. He's also stopping count from putting guys all the way back into gas as well. Hyun down by 50 supply now.
This is looking pretty rocky. The roach count is looking way too good for Elazer. It's 49 over 32. There's some queens at the front lines. They're trying to transfuse, but Elazer is going to back away from this. Let's not forget, he can always burrow to heal up these roaches as well.
Ooh. Okay, that was a big chunk right there.
Yeah.
But still, I'm surprised the Elazer actually retreated, but I guess his supply wasn't actually entirely there.
Both players transitioning to Hydralisk, but as we can see, Elazer can afford a little bit more than Hyun. Again, they might be on similar bases, but the drone count's only just been equalized. Not even fully equalized, but started to catch up. And Elazer has established a gold while this is happening.
Yeah. I really, like, it wasn't, the opening did not go well for Hyun. That is absolutely true, but he was very much so just evening it out no matter, like, whatever. Hyun does that, I suppose. But it was really like that surround at the fourth that really seemed to send Hyun back, and why Elazer has such a lead right now.
Yeah. It's interesting that he's going for these spine cores too, by the way. Like, really worried about some sort of counterattack, I guess. But a lot of this is going to be decided in the head-on battle here. We're going to have Hydra versus Hydra, Roach versus Roach. Now, curiously enough, far behind in army supply. Still is to an extent. He's going to have the Hydra lead, I think, as this comes forward into fruition, because the Elazer is maxed.
Elazer looks to be waiting, maybe. If he waits until he has infestors with a fungal, that's going to be enough time for Hyun to come back into this game. Granted, if Hyun actually decides to get a fourth.
Queen's being brought on the front line with this too could be a little bit interesting. I'm going to wager that if Elazer can play defensively, he'll win. If he pushes offensively, I think Hyun's got a much better chance to win that fight.
Well, the problem right now is that Hyun, he had a big gap where Elazer obviously wasn't doing anything. Elazer was sitting back waiting for a max out, and he didn't get a fourth. Now, luckily, he means he can cancel his fourth, so kind of, you know, an awkward give and take, but it's not. It's like he needed a fourth, he needed more units. It's not gonna matter.
Well, the fight going down, not in the favor of Hyun by any means. The roach count is dwindling it fast. The Hydra's still holding strong, but if there's no buffer for the Hydras, they will fall quickly. And the Queens are just looking for a way to get involved, but the range is too short, too neutered. Loses the army, loses everything, and GG is called. Elazer will take game number 2, tying it up 1-1 in this best of 5.